I'm back for a life update. So the biggest thing that has happened in my life recently is that I got. Hey y'all, welcome to Our Self-Love Story, the audio diary podcast. I'm your host, Brandy Hess, and today we are taking another step to falling deeper in self-love. I am back in the studio by myself this time for a life update. So, okay, so I'm back for a life update. So the biggest thing that has happened in my life recently is that I got a new job, and I'm so happy I got a new job. If you are a returning listener, you know that I was having like some issues with my previous job, and it was causing me like a lot of stress and just like anxiety a little bit, and I just felt like I wasn't progressing in my career. And so now I have a new job. I'm so happy. So in my old job, I was a manager at a warehouse. So it's like, I'm not just gonna like talk down on the job because it was a really great learning experience for me. And I got my foot in the door at the company that I work for, and I really like the company. So I'm glad that I had that experience, but that job was not for me. Like, I was, first of all, working like 12 hours a day. I would have to get there to my job at like, what time we had to be there? We had to be there like 6:30 in the morning, 4 days a week. Then I live 30 minutes away from the location, so I had to drive 30 minutes every day. So I had to leave the house like 6 o'clock in the morning, and then it take me a while to get dressed. I'd be snoozing my alarm like 5 or 6 times. So it was just a lot. And then once I got to work, it was just constant stress, and I was basically like running behind grown people trying to get them to do their job, and I just was like not feeling that at all. But my new role is a creative role, and it's actually a role that I've been trying to get into for years, and I'm so glad that I finally am able to be in this position. So in my new role, I am a user experience designer. If you don't know what a user experience designer is, or a UX designer, what I do is basically design technology, like design the system and also like the interface. So if you have like an app or a website, more than likely there's a UX designer that work with researchers and software developers to create the system so that it works in a way that's easy to understand and so that it's enjoyable for the user. And so that's what I will be doing, and it is a creative role because, like I said, we do deal with like design and we interact with users a lot, and it's just really something that I really truly enjoy, and I'm just so glad that I have the opportunity to do it at the company that I was already at and that I'm familiar with, and I can see myself being in this position for a while and growing in my career. So I'm very happy about that. So yeah, that's like my biggest life update. And even though the last job like wasn't the best fit for me, I definitely did learn some valuable lessons from that role, and I'm glad that I did get that opportunity. So the first lesson that I learned from my last job was that I'm grown. Like, that's kind of crazy to say because I am 25 years old, and so just the like feeling grown at this age, like, it might sound crazy, but I just graduated college in 2020. No, I graduated college in 2019. So like right before the pandemic, that December I graduated. So that was what, like 2 or 3 years ago. And up until that point, my life was like pretty structured for me. So like I was in school, from kindergarten to, college. Your life is pretty much set up for you. You go to class, you participate in activities. Those activities have schedules, and my life was pretty much planned out for me, And once I graduated and going into this job, it was like I'm now in a position where I'm determining what's going to happen in my life for myself, and I had to adjust to that and feeling like an adult because like my managers were older than me, so I looked at them like elders, or like when you're young, you learn to respect people that's older than you. And so even though we worked together and we were like colleagues, I looked at them like elders, and like I felt like I had to ask them for permission, or um, I was timid to like voice my opinions on certain things, because normally when you're in the like people that you kind of look up to, I didn't look up to them, but they were older than me, so I just kind of had that level of respect for them. I feel like I had to have, but in a work environment, it's like, yes, this person is older than me, but we work together, and I have to be able to communicate to them and address things that I have issues with to them directly, and not be afraid to do that. And a lot of times I was afraid to, speak up to my manager, and just tell them like, what I had going on or what I was thinking and feeling. And it kind of held me back in a way, because, not in a way, it definitely did hold me back, because I was just not voicing my opinions and my thoughts enough. And in order for things to change and things to get better, you have to communicate. And so that was definitely a hard thing for me, just being in the workforce and recognizing that, one, I am a fully grown adult. And so my career is based on the decisions that I make, the things that I do. And then within the work environment, I have to be able to communicate with people who I work with, whether they're older than me, younger than me, whatever the case is. We're all adults. We all work together. We all have the same level we all deserve the same level of respect. And so the respect that I give to them, I should expect that same thing in return. And so I definitely learned that. And going into my new role, I'm definitely going to keep that in mind, so that I am communicating honestly and openly. Is that a word? Openly? I'm just going to make sure that I communicate open, and I'm just going to make sure that I communicate well with the people that I work with, and not be timid to talk to them and tell them what I want, what I don't want, and things like that. So that was definitely a big lesson for me. Not just in my career, but just in life in general. Yeah, I still feel like a kid. Like, I don't know why I still feel like a kid, because like I'm not really a kid, but for some reason I still felt like a kid in a way. And I don't think I was like childish. But I don't know. I don't really know where that came from, or like why I felt like that. But yeah, I still feel like a kid, and I'm just learning to, be grown. I'm a grown woman. I can do whatever I want. Okay, that's what Beyonce said. So I'm definitely still adjusting to that. But I feel like once I move, like, that's gonna be out of the way. Like, I'm gonna be by myself. Nobody, I'm gonna be by myself. Ain't nobody gonna be telling me nothing about nothing. It's just gonna be me out there having fun. So I think that that's slowly but surely gonna be going away. I probably feel like that honestly though, because I didn't even have a driver's license for like a long time. Like, I just got my license, let me think. I graduated, 2019. So I didn't get a driver's license or a car until like 2 years ago. Like, it hasn't even been that long. Like, I remember I was in high school, everybody else had their license, was driving, had cars, all that. I literally was in college, didn't have a license, didn't have a car. And it was like right before I got my last job. I had literally just started driving at that point. So maybe that was a part of it, just not having everything and not being able to fully provide for myself. And I guess in a way I was still like very much concerned about what my parents think. And I'm getting out of that too. Like, my mama, daddy, like, yeah, y'all my parents, but I can't be concerned about what y'all think so much. And so that's definitely, I think that's probably the main thing. I was just so like concerned about what my parents' opinions is, and like just always having them like always having their opinions and like taking their opinion into consideration. But now I'm just kind of like, I don't really want to, like, I don't really need their opinions no more. So I'm making progress. Okay, I am making progress, but I still got a ways to go. So that job helped me, figure that out, and then I'm, gonna continue to learn as I go. Okay, so the second lesson that I learned is that I really don't like conflict that much, and I really didn't think that I was like that until I was in that management role, because as a manager, you kind of have to get into conflict a lot with people. At least in the job that I had, because people was not always doing what we needed them to do. And so you have to, I had to walk up to people and be like, hey, what's going on? You're doing this, you're doing that, and we need you to do this and that instead of what you're currently doing. And that was not fun for me at all. I did not like it. But I understand that is a part of life. Like, having conflict with people. And not conflict in like a, knuck if you buck, like, girl, I'm trying to beat you up type of way. Like, not necessarily like that. That's a different type of confrontation. But just confrontation, like, I guess like a civil disagreement, I guess is a better way to say it. It's just a part of life. Like, you don't always agree with people. People are not always going to agree with you. And you have to be able to communicate that, especially in a work environment, but, it definitely applies outside of work as well. And that's something that I struggle with. And when I had confrontations, or when I had to face confrontations, I would just, like, keep it to myself instead of addressing the person. And then it would just constantly, like, build up into, like, anger in a way, or just, like, irritation and, like, being very irritable. And I feel like if I would have just been like, okay, just had the confrontation early on, then maybe it would have got better. But I don't think so, because it was this one girl at my job. She just did not like me. I don't think it's nothing I really could have did to make that girl like me. I didn't do nothing to her in the first place. But I don't know. We had to work together, but I just did not want to have that confrontation at work. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a manager. I don't want to be, like, at work getting into it with people. Like, it just was a lot of different factors that went into me not wanting to have the conversation. But besides that, I just didn't want to do it. Like, normally, if I don't like you, I just don't talk to you. But that's not the best way to do that. Like, that's just not the best way to do it in life and at work. So I learned that as well. I'm gonna work on it, as far as like having conversations and whatnot. Especially at work, I really don't know how to do that yet, because I feel like you gotta be mad in a professional way, and I don't know how to do that. So I'm gonna learn. I'm gonna try to work on that and see where it goes. Well, I'm actually very glad that I had to wait a few years to get this job. It's because, like I said, in my last role, I learned some important lessons in that role. And if I'm honest, when I graduated college, I don't think I was ready to be in this UX design role. And the fact that I wanted it so bad, I am glad that I had this job, my previous job before my current job, because I was playing around a little bit when it comes to like work. Like, I always tell my mama, and she think it's funny, but I just really did not know that working was as serious as what it is. Like, that sounds crazy, but I really didn't. And I learned that in this last job. So if I would have came right out of college and went into this UX design role, like, who would have known? Like, I could have like ruined my opportunity, fumbled the bag, anything, because I just didn't take jobs and working that seriously coming out of college. I really didn't. And so I'm glad that I had to wait a couple years to get this job and, grow up a little bit, get an idea of what the workforce is really like, and then, come into this job that I really want and I plan on staying in and growing in and being successful in. So I feel like that was just like, when I look back on it, it was kind of like a perfect timing type of thing. Perfect. It just happened in the right order, I think. But if I didn't get this job, let me tell y'all, I would have been unemployed, and I don't know what I would have done, but I was quitting that job. Like, whether or not I got this job, I was not going to be in that job. So I'm glad that I got this job. I was going to give it up to God. I don't know what I was going to do, but I wasn't working in them. Okay, I would have rather had no money at all than to work in that job. But, this is not about me putting down that job. This is not what that's about. But being real, I was about to quit, and if I was broke, I was gonna be broke, and oh well, I was gonna have to figure it out and do something because I was not staying there. But you know, it all worked out, so we don't have to worry about that, and I'm so glad. And yeah, what I love about this new job is that I feel like it's more in line with who I am as a person. And I also talked about this in a previous episode as well. And like looking back at some of these episodes, it's kind of crazy to me. Like stuff that I was saying that I wanted to do, it's like it's like coming to fruition, which is like a little bit crazy. But it's like also exciting. So in the previous episode, I was talking, I think when I was talking to Diamond, I was saying like how I wanted a job and a career that was like in line with who I am as a person. And I feel like this job and this career path in general is more in line with who I am as a person. I've always loved like creative things. I always loved design. And like even as a kid, like I love like looking in magazines and seeing how they laid out the magazine and the colors. I always love graphic design and just color in general. I always love those type of things, but I didn't know like what it was exactly because I don't know anybody with like creative job. So I didn't know that that was an option for me, and I also just didn't know that I had a love for it. Like I couldn't put a name on it. Like I knew like when I look at these things that I enjoy it, I love looking at it, but I didn't know that the name of that it was like graphic design or interior design or you know whatever type of design. I've always loved those things, but I never knew a name. So now I know a name for it, and I now know that there are options to have creative careers, and I just love it, and it inspires me as well to be creative in my personal life, which again is in line with who I am as a person and it works in a way that is benefiting me and my job at the same time because I am in a creative field, so I have to try to stay creative and keep my mind in that type of space. And in order to do that, I look for ways to be creative in my personal life. And, that's something that I already like to do. And so whether it's like fashion or, like I said, interior design, all of those things, I am able to explore those more. And which is something that I love to do, anyways. And so not only am I able to do something that I love to do, but I'm also being inspired to be more creative, and that's ultimately going to help me in my career. So I definitely feel like this is just more in tune with who I am and what I love, and it's just a much better fit for me overall. That last job, it's a fit for some people, but it just wasn't a fit for me. And so I'm glad that I am in this role now. But with my new role, I'm still in training, so it's pretty chill right now. It's pretty chill. I like that. And I will be joining, getting out of training in about a month or so, so that's exciting. And the most exciting news is that with this role, I will be moving out of state, hopefully. Well, it's pretty much a guaranteed thing, but I just say hopefully just so that I don't get too excited. But it's pretty much a guaranteed thing. So I will be moving out of state in about a year. I'm not going to say where yet. You got to stay tuned to get all that info. But I will be moving, and I'm moving to a place where I always wanted to live, ever since I was a kid. So I'm excited. I'm really excited to have this, have this next part of my life. Like I said, I'm 25, and lately I've been thinking about my life in a more long-term way. So I'm glad that I have a job that I feel like will last long-term for me. And I'm going to a city or a state and a city where I've always wanted to be. That could potentially be a long-term thing, or maybe not. I'm not exactly sure. I'm open to anything. I will move literally out the country. I'm open to all of that, but I'm definitely excited to be moving on to this next phase of my life. And now that I know that I'm really about to be grown, I'm about to be out of state by myself, all the bills are going to be on me, and I'm ready for it. You know, I got a little bag or whatever, so I don't think the money hopefully shouldn't be a problem. But, you know, I'm moving on, growing up, so that's exciting. So yeah, that's pretty much the life update that I have. I got a new job, learned some lessons from my old job, and I'm moving out of state, and I'm so excited. So let's, as always, let's get into the self-love deck part of the show. I'm gonna pull a card and answer a question. Let's see, hopefully it's a good question today. We always have good questions. In what ways could you step out of your comfort zone to reach more of your goals? So I think I did this question before. So I'm going to pull another one just so that, you know, we get to all the questions. Okay. What are your goals and what are you doing to tend to them daily? What are my goals? Okay. And what am I doing to tend to them daily? I feel like that's a good question, so I'm going to go ahead and answer that one. So, I have a lot of goals, actually. One goal, like I said, is when it comes to my career. Let me think, that's a good question because I don't think I have a specific goal when it comes to my career. I know that I like doing creative things, which is what I'm currently doing. I guess I just have a more general goal that I want to have a long-term career. Doing something that I love to do and something that I find exciting and fun. And then I have other goals outside of my career. With this podcast, my goal is to have it grow I want to get at least, so I ain't gonna lie, y'all, I'm trying to get monetized on YouTube. So right now my goal is to get 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. So if you're listening to this right now, go ahead to my YouTube page and subscribe and watch all the videos from start to finish, and that should help me reach that goal. Okay, thank you very much. So I do have the goals to get monetized on YouTube, but and then in addition to that, I have goals to just live life and have fun. Is that a goal? Living life and having fun. I feel like that's a goal. This is a hard question. I also have a goal to build a home, have a family, be financially stable. What are you doing to tend to them daily? Well, right now I'm single, so that whole family thing is not really happening. So, well, I am like trying to get to know myself more and just become more of myself, because I feel like when I eventually do get into a relationship, that will help my relationship succeed. So I guess that counts. But as far as like being in a relationship, I'm not working toward that because I'm not in a relationship. So that's not happening. But I also have goals to get into, like, invest. Did the camera just turn on? Oh, okay, my bad. I have goals to invest, so I'm trying to learn about real estate, buying properties, renting them out, things like that. I definitely do have a goal to invest my money and grow to have more streams of income. So what else am I doing to reach my goal? So like I said, I want to get into real estate, so I'm trying to get my credit together, paying off student loans. Yeah, those are the two big things that I'm really doing. So luckily, right now, we're on a pause for paying for student loans, so that's great. I do have like a private loan that I still do have to pay off, but it's a very small amount, so I'm working on paying that off, so again, get my credit up, paying my credit card off every month. Yeah, so hopefully once I'm in a position where I'm, ready to buy a house, then, I got my credit together and I don't have to worry about that part. I'm also trying to save money as well. Like I said, I got that. Like I said, I got a little coin. So no, I ain't got no coin, y'all. I'm just talking. But I do make a little bit more money, so I'm just, saving money every month so that, like I said, when I'm ready to buy a house or whatever I choose to invest in, I got a certain amount of money set up and I can put down a down payment or whatever the case is. I just got money saved up to invest. So I'm saving money, building my credit, paying off student loans. And, I'm getting ready to move as well. So that's also important, having my credit together if I'm looking for a home or apartment, getting a lease for a car, whatever the case is. I'm doing all that stuff so that, your girl can be ready so that I can be a successful real estate investor or whatever, businesswoman in general. So my goals right now pretty much are all like financial goals. So I want to, continue to grow my career, invest in properties or invest in anything that can make me money is really what I'm focusing on right now. And every day I'm just trying to learn more and more about the things that I want to the goals. So whether that's, learning about real estate or putting in money to my podcast. Those are all things that I'm trying to do so that I can just, be rich. That's what I'm trying. I'm really trying to be rich. Okay, I'm not trying to struggle. Okay, that's really what it comes down to. So yeah, those are my goals, and that's what I'm doing every day to tend to them. So yeah, that's pretty much my life update.
Thank you for tuning into this week's episode of Our Self-Love Story. I hope this content helps you as you embark on your own self-love journey. Please rate and review the show and join the OSLS community conversation on YouTube today. Your post could be our next conversation starter. Stay tuned for next week's episode coming Saturday at 1 p.m.